Hi, peeps. Welcome to Heart Talks. Thank you for joining us. I got to tell you, when I get in the morning, when I get on the computer, I ask the universe, who would you have on next? And I start scrolling, and then bam, there's the one. My next one is Martin Soulreader. And thank you, Martin, for joining my little Heart Talks family here.
It's a pleasure to be here. First time. Nice.
Thanks. You know, guys, I have been dealing with healers for a very long time. And after getting to know Martin, I kind of understood why he was like the BAM for the day, because I have had healings at the depth that Martin is capable of doing. And he's got a great website, and I want y'all to take a look at it, because he has so much to offer. And sometimes we get stuck in places that we didn't even know we're stuck. And this is the guy who can reach that area. Martin, I am very impressed with what you've got going.
Thanks. I'm probably going a little bit red now.
Well, you know the saying, I think Martin is like a perfect example of a spirit being having a human experience. He's been able to balance that out very well with what you're doing and who you are. And I really, I'm quite honored to meet you.
Well, thank you. Well, like for most of us, it took some time to get there.
That's right.
And if there's anything that I'd like to say right now, it's that keep on going. Because we seem to cover the same ground over and over again when we're transforming stuff, healing stuff, the tears. I mean, I've had so many tears. Noah's Ark was floating in my back garden, and I used to use a towel to wipe them, and this was for about a year. And I thought, this is good. This is incredibly insane. When does it stop? But something inside of me just kept on going, and still does. And so that happened around, let me see, I'm not good at dates because I'm more of a soul mind than an earth mind. So years to me mean very little. Something like 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, another tip, don't compare yourself to others. It took me 20 years. It might take somebody a second.
That's right.
To get to where, for evolution and so on.
Absolutely.
But then I now really feel the benefits and the rewards of this. I'm very emotional as I'm saying this, because I'm feeling extremely well balanced. And I even used to hate the word balance. I'm Sagittarius, and I'm just charging everywhere and doing everything at top speed. But now, it could be age, of course, but I don't like to think of it that way.
Right.
It's like it's worth the effort. So keep on going no matter what. And eventually you come to a beautiful point where that you might still need some self-work, but it is minor, it is tiny. And the greater thing is, you talked about a soul or a spiritual being in human form. I've always been working on getting it to about 90% spirit, 10% human being. So just enough to survive, pay the bills, go to the toilet, all these great things. Oh, and of course, enjoy love. We mustn't forget that. And food. Enjoy the things that you can't really enjoy as a spirit. Enjoy the things of the body.
Oh, boy. That takes so much guilt out of the equation. Why not enjoy your human life?
Absolutely. Because I know it's weird, but I think I'm more human than most humans. Even though I'm kind of a very, very tiny portion human. Because this Martin, me, the vessel, I am so happy with. Without Martin, I mean, this is like my soul speaking now. It sounds a bit, schizophrenic, but I don't care because it isn't. Without Martin, my soul would not be able to do what it's doing now on this earth with energies and healing and non-duality. bringing that here, raising the vibration, without Martin having his feet on the ground and without the character of who I am. So I think it's important to say that we say go beyond the ego. I say bring the ego with you. And they work as a team, spiritually, physically, because there's a lot of ego bashing going on.
Right.
And that creates separation. All we're doing is continuing the separation of like almost war within ourselves. So I chose to embrace my ego, and it's a big ego, but that's okay because I've got a big soul.
Very good.
And they work together, and through Martin, my soul, it can have a unique experience and a unique expression. So there's nothing wrong with ego.
Do you think it's the ego that brings about the contrast that we can use for our...
The ego is a flower, and that each individual ego is a different flavor, a different texture of flower.
Oh, I like that.
And this is so important. We're here to love everything, not just our nice parts.
Right.
And the ego is actually, I've just got a message from some psychologist in the sky. The ego, the one that causes the problems, so to speak, is the hurt child aspect of the ego.
Yes.
And why do we want to continue hurting that child?
Right.
We want to say, come on, it's okay, Martin, for instance, or little Marty, as I call him.
Right. And isn't this time, with all the energy coming to us right now, the perfect time to say to little Sheila or to little Martin, it's okay, we're going to make it through this?
You don't even have to say it's okay, because the wonderful news is that there's a wounded part, and that is like a toothache. It's just the tooth that's hurting, but the rest of me is fine. We forget that we have a child in us that's not touched at all by anything. And then what happens is you bring that, I'm tingling like crazy now, you bring that child home to you, the healed, the wholesome one, and he gets the little one, the hurt one, brings him out of the cave and says, come on, let's get going. But you are correct, there is massive acceleration going on at the moment with the energies. And you've just got to let go of control and ride it and enjoy it.
Oh, yes. And boy, I mean, I've got to be reminded of that constantly, because I'm I think as most of us, just in a tornado of changes right now.
We're not being allowed to be in control anymore.
Right.
We are being shown to let go.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
And the human psyche is very, stubborn. It's inflexible. And that is what we are transforming with these changes. We're making a more flexible psyche so that it doesn't look at stuff from 2,000 years ago and still think it applies today.
Right.
So there's a massive fundamental change in the human psyche taking place. And it's the first time in the history of humanity that we are in a civilization and transforming it rather than it dying out.
Right.
So it's a massive experiment also.
Right. Right. Okay. And as a healer, with all of this going on, when you go inside to one of those areas that has been blocked, can you feel all the energy and changes?
No, I go neutral.
You go neutral.
I go neutral, and I even use the energies of non-duality, because the problem with using energies of duality to heal is we're always going to create the opposite. We're always going to create, we can pray like crazy, but we have to be careful. We might actually be creating wars at the same time.
Right.
So I had a really deep think about this in my library in the sky, and I thought this place needs something different. So I went into a universe, I was taken to a universe where non-duality is the norm. It's normal. And I thought, I'm going to put some of that in my pocket. And I'm going to bring it to Earth and then play with it and see what it does. And it's very powerful. I can just look, read the name of the person, And that's all I need to do. And the non-duality energy does it all. It's
So when
fantastic.
you say non-duality energy, you're talking about soul?
We're talking from another universe. Not this aspect of the universe where duality, for this moment, and I say that because I know that duality is coming to an end also. And we're preparing ourselves for that.
And how is it we're preparing for that?
By first of all being adaptable, getting the psyche more flexible, by getting used to the concept of there is no time.
Right.
And we're also being prepared for it because souls in their essence are non-duality. And the more we integrate our soul within our earthly life, the more non-duality is also coming into the earthly life.
Right.
So the biggest thing we can do is to be bringing our soul into our being. And I am a midwife of the soul, and this is the work I do also.
Right, right. Okay, so as we're transitioning and we're letting go, and it's what I call the unfoldment plan, where I kind of tossed my wishes and dreams, and I said, let's see what you would have me do next. And
who is the we? Who are you seeing? What would have you do next? I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, that would be all of me's.
Okay, right, gotcha.
Yeah, the one that's not little Sheila, who has more understanding and who I think has got a better role in this experiment than I do.
So you're letting go and giving it over.
Right.
Right. It takes courage.
It takes courage, and it takes friends like you guys, like you, who are doing the same thing, and we keep saying it over and over and over again, and we're going to keep saying it over and over again because we have to be reminded until we get a grip on it. And I know people who are just beginning to realize all of this, to people who are working their gig, and there sure seems to be the separation between it all has seems to be evaporating.
That's right, and that's why we mustn't separate the ego from ourselves and say, naughty ego, nasty ego, go away. Anything that is separation is creating pain.
Right. So there's a tool right there, is to check to see if your thoughts or what you're saying is in the context of separation. Yes,
and also an important point is that the mind is afraid of being left out of these. The normal mind is afraid of being left out. It's afraid it hasn't got any job to do for you if it hands over to, let's say, the soul mind. But so it's panicking, and this makes us go, the mind then starts controlling. You reassure your mind that it's okay, that it is vital and necessary. And then it comes on the journey with you. We don't leave anything behind.
Right.
Because everything is useful.
And the emphasis is that we are transforming the whole earth in our own transformation and beyond.
Yeah, I think people underestimate the importance of the earth in the universe also.
Right, because I know for a fact that when I realized that I was a cosmic citizen, that all of a sudden I had an important part in this whole thing. And I think, that is another tool, is to realize really you do have an important part. And in your transformation, you are, as a whole, helping the whole planet.
Absolutely. You don't even have to go out there and healing thousands of people. Right. Which is that's kind of the old way, and it's I'm going to be a bit tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of trying to rescue the planet and rescue people. And if you want to rescue somebody, it means somebody's got to be a victim, and we're moving away from victim and rescue consciousness to that of empowered. and empowerment.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit about what all you're offering, all the services you're offering from your website there.
Oh gosh, where do I begin?
Well, let's give some people an idea, because this is seriously.
Well, of course, there's the normal readings. I do both live and written readings, and they are from soul purpose to past life, purely intuitive readings where we just see what comes up. Mm-hmm. I can see where a person is on their spiritual evolution, what the blockages are, and how to help them to move through those blockages. I also work with master energies, because one of my important roles at this moment is there's a lot of gods and goddesses incarnated in human form. And it's been given to me by somebody who trusts me to help those energies, those huge energies, incarnate, and the people that they are connected to help them to understand them and to sort themselves out so that the energies are used in a decent way. Right. And then there's healings. I offer like 16 different types of healings for the most bizarre things, like activating your inner magician, all the way down to dysfunctional family healing. And all I need is the names of the people, and I concentrate, and it starts, and it's done. And people think I'm lazy, but I'm not. I'm efficient. Very efficient in the way it's done. I don't tune in mentally, that's the key. I don't tune in with my mind. My soul is doing the work. And I suppose that's why it's so powerful.
That's why it knows.
It knows exactly where a person is, and I'm trusted to be the spokesperson, let's say, for my soul, not for another soul. It is important that we begin channeling our own wisdom, our own soul, and our particularly unique energy, not going to Thoth and gosh knows who else. I often have an argument with the archangels, for real. And I'm saying, come on, let those people find out who they are, and all this kind of stuff, you know. As you can see, I use a lot of humor.
I understand that. The universe is very humorous. And I think, I think a lot of people go into this thinking that it's like this solemn, big voice in the sky or something. And let me tell you, they're as funny as I am. So,
Yeah, when I got to a certain point in my, let's say, on my road, on my path, and I suddenly thought, oh shit, I'm going to have to go serious now. So I said to my God, I don't want to go any further. And my God laughed his ass off and said, what are you talking about, man, We don't want to get bored.
It's exactly like that. At the end of the day, whenever I'm finally, I'm done with my day and I want to talk to my universal team, I'll always go, Janeway here. And that means my attention is to you, and I'm going to let you know what it's like to be a human today.
Right. In fact, that's absolutely correct. We forget this. There's this thing, spirituality and money. Well, they don't have a clue about money. And so I said, now, come on, guys. I've got to live somewhere. I've got to pay the bills. I've got to have electricity. And they said, that's not our problem. We're not living there. And so I had no choice but to get my ass into gear and find a way of blending spirituality and financial stuff.
Oh, and that is so huge. That is such a huge issue. And getting our asses in gear is exactly what we've got to do.
Well, one of the big problems is we've got an old energy of sacrifice and giving, which there's no problem with giving, but if we can't receive, what is the cycle of giving? It breaks the cycle.
Exactly.
But then we have guilt and we have past lives of, what's it called, where we make a promise to God for poverty.
Oh.
I had that one. I had an old monk in me.
Yes.
And even with sex, it was going, what are you doing?
Yes.
And I said, watch and learn.
Oh, God, Martin, this is great. Oh, wow. Well, let's tell the folks where you can be reached. I'm going to put your Facebook page and your website under the interview, but you go ahead and.
Okay. Well, I have an older page which has 146,000 fans, but I'm in a process of change, and what's happening is I am closing that page down, and moving to a page called Aware Relationships that I've created, and it's reaching. It's only got a fan base of 6,000, but it's getting 100 likes a day. The universe is totally behind me on it, and it's reaching 300,000 people a week.
That's great.
And I had to have the courage to let go of that number thing of the old page and start fresh and change.
Yes, we have to, even when we get to a stage of really getting it together, get ready to change again.
Absolutely. There's no, you're not allowed to be still, because the universe is always expanding, and it's pulling us with that expansion.
Right.
And if we resist, we get toothache.
Right.
It causes pain, So my website is, of course, www.soulpsychology.org, and the Facebook page I've already given you is Aware Relationships. Martin Soulreader, or Martin Mihalike, which is what you can't pronounce.
Yeah.
But Facebook wouldn't let me use Soulreader. They wanted to delete my account, so I had to use my real name.
Yes.
And I also want to offer your listeners or viewers 30% off. You use the coupon code 30 when you check out, and you'll get 30% off anything that you order.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I like to share as much as I can, because I also am totally aware that we haven't all got money. I've been there.
Right.
And it's only reasonable. All I'm asking is something back for the energy that I give, and that's all we need to do.
Right.
If everybody did that, there'd be no poverty, there'd be no suffering or anything.
Right.
On this principle.
I look forward to this journey continuing, knowing you and seeing what you develop and create for yourself. And
I'm already having a thinking of. I've been asked to create 2 new healing sessions, and I haven't quite got them yet. They will just appear,
right.
And then I'll do that. My healing sessions tend to be what the current climate is.
Right.
What is needed right now. Because I don't operate to my timetable, I'm operating to the galactic timetable.
Right. That's right.
Is that half an hour?
There you have
it. No way. Gosh. Okay. Isn't time beautiful?
Well, thank you so much, Martin. I appreciate all your wonderful advice, and just thank you so much.
And all the best to everybody that's on this amazing journey.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And if people aren't on this amazing journey, don't worry, they will be at some point. They
will be, yes.
No problem.
It's part of the big plan.
Okay, thanks very much, Sheila.
All right, peeps, thank you for joining us. From my heart to yours, namaste.